All right. Welcome to codeLive. My name is Kevin Porman. You probably remember me as your fearless host and typonator extraordinaire. Today we're going to be working with some chatter on this very special Comic Sans edition of codeLive. So today I said we're going to be working on some chatter recipes. Now, as it turns out, I've done a lot of things in the Salesforce universe. I've done plenty of integrations. I've done a lot of work with Sales Cloud, with Service Cloud. The one thing that I just never really got into, never had a need to, was doing Apex work with chatter. So this is going to be new for me a little bit. Now, we did a chatter recipes thing 8 months ago, and we're going to continue on with that because we only did two things in that one. We did create a post feed element, and we created a post comment to feed element. So those are our two recipes from before. Those are the most basic ones. Today we're going to try and work with mentions and files, because we've already covered the with code one. So let's just keep this here. And the other thing we're going to... Oh, what happened? There we go. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to be putting in some comments that make this useful. And then we'll get it merged. As usual, the chat is over here, and so if you see me looking over here to my left, that's because I'm looking to see all the glorious chatter messages you're sending me. Feel free to, leave a comment or snide remark. You can also reach me on Twitter at @CodeFryer. And so today, let's just dive in. If you've got questions, comments, snide remarks, reach out on the chat stream here, and we will you'll see them here on the stream as well, and I'll be able to interact with you as well. So with that said, let's go ahead and work on making a post, create post with mentions. So let's do this. What I'm going to do is I have access to this beta where I get to start typing things and see what happens. So we're going to do create post with mentions. Nope, that didn't do it. Let's see. Create post with mentions. Okay. There we go. Okay, I like this. So this is the code, the Copilot beta. I have access to it from ye old GitHub, and I've been playing with that. And then we're going to do this: if connect API organization get strings, features chatter is enabled. So that's true. It's going to prototype that for me and put that in there. And then we're going to create a new post, which is true. It's not, because we're going to create that new comment, but then we're going to have to feed item, and we're going to have to do this a little bit differently, because we're not going to create a post feed item. So let's get rid of that part. Okay. Now here, what we want to do is we want to create a feed item input. So we'll do connect API dot, nope, almost, feed item input. Yeah, there we go. And we'll do feed item input. Now the naming to this is a little new to me, so if you see me going things like feed item input and you're like, what's that mean? I don't know, we're going to refactor that later. And I'm going to say this is going to be equal to new connect API feed item input. We're going to use the empty constructor there, and then no, I don't need that. Thank you for trying to prototype that for me. And what we're going to do now is, come on, now we're going to say we need a message body input, so we'll do connect API dot message body input. This is going to be our message body input. Yeah, there we go. Nice and original naming here. And do this. Then we're going to have a text segment input. So connect API, not that. Then we're going to do text input. It's not text input, it's text segment input. Text segment input, new connect API. There we go. All right, so what do these things do? This is going to give us a feed item that we can then turn around and post eventually. So this is going to the item we're building, the feed item, the feed item. And then down here, this one is the body of the message. And this is going to be the text of our message. Okay. Now we do this because we're also going to have like the mentions section. Now we're going to make posts with mentions, post contents. Now let's also do up here, we're going to go in and we're going to do a list of users, and we'll say user, and we'll call this one to mention. Okay. Now I want to go in here and I want to loop over our users and add them to the @mention list. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a for loop for user user in users. User is probably a keyword because it's also an object name. So let's do just you. I don't normally like small variable names to mention. Okay. That goes there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say our connect API.mention input, and this is it's going to be not a mention input, it's going to be mention segment input. Mention segment input. You know what? I'm just gonna mention segment input. There we go. So we're going to create a new message segment input. We're going to say the message segment input dot ID is equal to u.id. So we're going to, this is the name of the user, the ID of the user we're mentioning. And then we're going to say message body input dot message segments add, and we're going to pass in our mention segment input like that. So what we're doing in this one, this is fairly straightforward here. We're going to create a new message segment input, and then we're going to add all of the users to it one at a time. So for every user we pass in here in our list of people to mention, we're going to go ahead and add them to the list of mentions. And then finally, we're going to add the message segment identifying the mention to the message segments that we've got. And I'm getting a text section input, but I believe that's probably, let's see, we're getting this invalid type. So let me verify with my notes here. Test segment, it's not test, it's not test section, it's test segment. Right, and this is going to be, there we go. It's great if I type things correctly. And yeah, hey, somebody else pointed out, Bernadette is saying, hey, you wanted text segment input, but you constructor has text section input. You're right, that's totally right. Segment input like that, that should be better. Are we having issues with test segment input too? I think you're just being goofy. Let's save this and see what the messages are as they were. Okay. Authenticated with the refresh token due to expire. Open default org. And then let's do this. I'm going to switch which one we're connected to. Nope, not that. I want this one because we are going to be on the, let's see, where is my branch? Okay. Text versus test. Test, text. Hey, good catch, Bernadette. Where would I be without you today? All right, so it did not open my browser. It did not open that. So let's go ahead and I've got this nice handy dandy little script set up. So clear, and I'll do bin org-init.sh, let it do its thing. It's going to spin us up a scratch org in the background while we continue working here. All right, so message segment input is right there. And there we go. And message segments. There we go. Don't need two of those. Okay. I can't push because we don't have an org yet. Sorry, my bad. All right, keep creating that scratch org for us. Go CLI. Yay! Go CLI. Woot woot. Go CLI. Woot woot. All right. Well, Bernadette, it's good to have you here. It's been a while. It's been about a month we had off here, and it's good to be back in the saddle, as it were. I'm enjoying this. Let's see what our issue is here. We've got that one, and then this is not indented properly. And then we put that there. Okay, that should be better. And this is telling me it's not message segment message body input is what that is. All right, there you go. Okay. Looks like I got some updating to do the CLI here. Maybe we'll take care of that here if this doesn't, the org-init thing doesn't do its thing. I'm getting a little nervous, to be honest with you. All right. While we wait for that, let's go ahead and open up the unit test we created. So we'll go into tests, chatter recipes tests. All right, now you notice we've got to do CL data equals true because we're testing chatter. Woot. I like to say every time you use CL data equals true, you make Cody cry. So yeah, I'm making Cody cry. Let's do a little bit of refactoring here. It says this does not match our method naming. It's because of the underscore. We'll just get rid of that. It's a positive test. We'll get rid of that one. That's also a positive test. Okay, so when we have an org, we'll be able to save that as well. But we are we're struggling with the org thing here. Let's do this. I'm going to cancel it. All right, so let's do np. What is it? What do I use? I use Volta. Volta install SFX CLI. Let it do its thing. Volta, by the way, if you've not used it, it's this little wrapper utility written in Rust that takes care of yarn and npm and setting up your environment for node stuff perfectly. And it's super fast. I'm a super big fan. And so we'll look at that here. Let it install the CLI, and then we'll update the plugins, and then see if we can't build our org around that. Now, if you were seeing that earlier and you're like, what was he doing here? Down here at the bottom, I've got, this is the default org selection, and I can click on it, and it'll show me all the orgs that this place knows about, the Visual Studio Code knows about. And the way my org-init script creates orgs, there should be a code fryer / chatter recipes version, and I'm not seeing that in there, which makes me think that it hasn't it didn't actually take. So I'm going to create a scratch org as soon as it gets done installing the CLI, and I honestly don't have any idea why it's taking this long to install the CLI. So yeah, so while we do that, how about people in the chat tell me what kinds of things you'd like to see us talk about, build, joke about on codeLive? Yeah? Any takers? Let's look at this here. Are we having a thermal throttling issue? We are. Come on. I blame Mike Martin on this. This would have worked had we not been using Comic Sans as our font for the day. Okay, so we've created that. Now I'm going to do SFDX and then plugins update. Is it plugins update? Let's find out. There we go. We're updating our plugins. That looks like what I would suspect. Building fresh packages. Following, fetching, linking. You know, one of these days I'm going to set this up so that it automatically updates the CLI for me every night at like 2 a.m. when I'm definitely not using my computer. All right, so let's do SFDX. SFDX. Yeah, somebody's asking for the Org init plugin. Let's go ahead and look at it. The Org init script is built into Apex recipes. You can go look at it if you just go to clone the repo, and you'll find in the bin directory there's this version for Windows users. And I'll be honest with you, I hope it works. I don't really have a Windows machine to test it on, but it's a PowerShell script contributed by Sandor. And then I got this Org init script here. A couple things it does. It creates the org for you with the force org create script, but it uses the alias and it goes out and it gets your Git. It pulls the name of your Git branch. This little bit of code here is what we use to pull the codeLive / chatter recipes. That's the name of our branch, and you'll see it's also in my prompt here. That's how my prompt is pulling it out, and that's what we're going to do here. We're going to set the alias to that. So if I run bin org init sh, it should take off and go to the races and build us an org. And it usually doesn't take this long to build one. So I wonder if something odd is going on. So while this does this, let's go ahead and let's work on our tests here, because we've got the, let me back up. The script here for this, it's Suraj. It's going to set the alias to our Git branch name. It's going to give me a 7-day duration. It's going to give me the default username. It's going to use JSON as the output format, and if it catches any fatal errors, it'll stop. Once it's created the org, it's going to push our code. Then it's going to assign the perm set Apex recipes to the user. This is all the stuff you do to set up any org with Apex recipes, is documented there on the GitHub README. This just sort of automates it all at once. A couple of things that are fun to point out. These are the way it imports data. So it's got these JSON files of data that it can import, and it's all relative. So it's going to import accounts and contacts associated with those accounts, all that good stuff. And then we've got some code that we just programmatically execute using this setup.apex, and you can find that in the data directory. So if we go to setup Apex, this is a Apex script that goes through and attaches files to some accounts so that the files recipes work. And then it's going to also order the application menu. And if you're wondering what the order of the application menu is, that's in your org. You go through and you've got you can click on the button for applications, and you've got the top 5 that show up, and this will put Apex recipes at the very top. And it's just a class I created that is a well, here, let's do this. Go to let's just open it. That is the wrong file. Open app class, order app menu, and it's just going to do some SOCL work to order that menu so that it works, and you can see it, Apex recipes there. Suraj, hope that answered your questions. That's kind of a little bit of a rabbit hole, but that's fine while we wait for this to work. While that's working its thing, let's go ahead. We've fixed this issue, right? So we've got that taken care of, and we've written our code so that theoretically theoretically, we can now create a post with mentions. So let's look at our tests and see if we can't write a test for that. This is going to make a comment on a post positive. And this is the same, make a post positive. And to do that, we're going to grab an account, and we're going to get that account feed. And now we'll just go ahead and run that. Let's just see our stuff. Here's our, okay, we've got a chatter recipes class that we're going to use to test with. So we can go ahead and we can do something very similar to this. I'm just going to copy pasta this one, including our @isTest. Come down here, and we'll run this. Here we go, got a chat message in. Okay, that is a handy script, Suraj. I like it. My coworker, Aditya, I believe, has one that's got fancier output, and I keep trying to get it merged in, but it's not honestly a big priority, because this one does work when we're not waiting to get back from the API what's going on. All right, so we're not going to test make a post positive. We're going to test make a post. We're going to do with mentions. And so, okay, we got the account that we're going to do, and here we go. Now it's kicking off. So it just gave us this org. This is the output of the create org one. And now we're pushing our components. Good. We'll let that keep going in the background. Now the part about that is it's going to push our changes for us, which I appreciate. And we're going to do account. That's good. We're also going to need some users here. So we need users to mention. So we'll do user @mention. We'll do @mentioned is equal to test factory create user true. Okay, so we're gonna create that user. Let's open that up and make sure we're not forgetting something in the API. So test factory. And we'll search for create user. Create user is not found. I would have sworn it was in here. Create test user. There we go. Let's create min access. Create. So create test user. That's good. So we want create test user, and we need a profile ID. And we can do, oh, look at this. We can do profile name. So what we'll do is we'll do create test user, true, comma, standard user. All right, that'll give us our test user, and it'll insert it. That's what this one does. We'll have that there, and then we'll be able to do test start test. We're going to, let's close that file, and we'll come back in here, and we're going to make a post. Make a post with mentions, and we're going to say the account ID is the feed we want to attach it to. Our test contents is going to be the contents of our mention, and then we're going to have a new list user like that, and we're going to do a literal. There we go. That's going to be our @mentioned user. I'm liking that. And then let's go with stop that, and then we're going to pull from our feed. Now it occurs to me we're not actually doing any checking of the contents. We're not doing anything with our actual body here. So let's go ahead and refactor our make a post with mentions so that we are actually doing something more than just posting blank with a body. So to do that, we're going to come up here and we're going to say our, we're going to fix this to be text segment ID. So text segment input dot text is equal to post contents. This is the string we want to put in there. And then we're going to have to add that to the message body. So we're going to do, message body input dot mention, no, it's not mention segments, it's message body input dot message segments dot add text segment input. There we go. So we've added our body to it. We've added our mentions here. This is okay. Yes. So my script failed, you can see, because up here it told me that if I scroll all the way up the top here, it failed because I had a I couldn't compile my chatter recipes and chatter recipes tests files. That's fine, I'm working on them right now. What that means though is when I save this, it's going to take a lot longer to save because it has to push everything up at once. So I'm going to make sure this is syntactically correct, and then we'll push it up. And then I'm also going to do here, I'm going to do feed item input message body, no, which is body. Sometimes Copilot is really great, and sometimes it's like just off enough that you're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Contents. That. Okay, so this sets our body up, and with our segments at the message body and the text segment, and then we've got our mention body, and we're going to add that to the mention segments of the message body. Let's see if that will save. Saving. Yep, all right. Any questions, comments, or snide remarks so far on our work with Chatter today? No? Okay. And, okay, and we've got some people here on Twitter. What are they saying? Let's see. They're giving me a hard time about using Comic Sans here, but that's fair. Did it for fun. Did it for the lulz. Makes me feel like maybe I'm a superhero coder, like Iron Coder, maybe. Man, if I was Iron Coder, I could have like an AI, like Jarvis, help me code things. I promise it wouldn't turn into a take over the world and kill the human situation. Not my AI. Nope. Saving. What extensions am I using for the auto suggestions? Adrian, that's a great question. I have two that I use. The first one is called, let me run my mouse over to the right computer here. I'm going to show you the one that I use daily, and that's in my installed ones. It is one called, I hope these are in order because I'm just scrolling down super far, tab 9. It is an AI autocomplete that works at the project level. So it looks at all of the code in your project, and it can figure out variable names and understand the way your code is documented, that sort of work. It's super useful. I like it a lot. And then the other one I have access to that I've been able to play around with because I'm in the beta is the Copilot, which is a GitHub project, and it's in pilot. Where is it? Is it GitHub Copilot? GitHub Copilot. Yeah, this is it. And this one, you can go and install the plugin for Visual Studio Code, but unless your username is blessed or enabled in the GitHub thing, it won't do anything. But it's kind of a cool little project where you can, generally speaking, give it a comment and tell it what you want to do. So you could say create post with file, and then it'll turn around and provide you what it thinks is everything you need in order to start coding that. So if I hit tab, you can hit enter, and then it'll say I can hit enter again, and then I have no idea how accurate this is because I'm not really yeah, it seems to be caught in a loop where it's just creating file segment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of those. And you'll see it's even giving us like comments at the end. And so I don't want that one. And there's a way to do... There's a way to say, no, I don't want that completion, go to the next one, but I honestly don't remember what it is. So that's what Code Builder is. Now if we go over here to our output, our push project failed. It says we're expecting a semicolon. Oh, that's because this is not valid. Okay, and then variable does not exist ID on line 49. I don't have a variable on 49 named ID. Variable does not exist, mention segments. Okay, so let's look at this. This is message body input dot mention segments. Let's try saving that. And then over here, chatter recipes is saved. The test is saved. And in our test, while this is thinking about saving, let's look at our test. We're going to send it to the list of our @mentioned users, and that should be just fine. And then we're going to, after this, we're going to grab the title body and the account feed where the parent ID. Okay, so we're grabbing all the feeds of this, and this should have, we're saying it should have an account feed of 1, but if we look at it, let's do this. Let's open default org, because I want to see what the schema for this account feed is. Can I pull my mentions up from that? Because I'd like to assert that I have mentions associated with this. So let's go, let's allow that, and then let's go for, let's just do this. This is the simple way. I'm going to go to the dev console, and I'm going to go to open, and it's going to be an object. It's going to be account feed. All right, so our fields are parent ID, type, comment, count, link URL is rich text. Wonder if the body would have it. All right, let's look at our code here. Are we still not saving? Still saving. Yep. Saving. I think this test is valid, but we can be more specific with the assertion here. So what I want to do is I want to grab the, I'm grabbing the title and body, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's just do system debug, and we'll do account feed and instead of title, I'm going to do body, so that we can see what that body looks like, because it should contain the mention alert. So let's do some output there plus that. Okay, and we'll let that save. That it's finally pushing. It's still pushing. All right. So next week we got some stuff coming up for Service Cloud. And, okay. Illegal assignment from string to connect API message body input. That's fair. Okay, and then the message body input. This is the mention segment input. There we go. That should exist. You can source deploy with the no test run. I'm actually not deploying using that. I'm using scratch orgs. So let's see. So we're creating, okay, so these are duplicate lines. I don't need that one. And then this one should be message body input. Yep, that's right. Mention segments. I think that's going to be, it's just a goofball error message. Let's try saving that again. Clear this so we can see any new errors that show up. Somebody's saying something here on Twitter. Let's see what they're saying. Messages. Refresh. Oh, I just got a like. Just a like. Suraj, thanks for tuning in today, as well as Adrian and Bernadette. Good to see you. Where are y'all at these days? Are we talking to most people in Europe or Southeast Asia or the Indian subcontinent? You know, I'm trying to collect all the. I'm trying to collect somebody from all the continents. So I'm looking for someone from like Africa and someone from South America. Those are the two like I haven't really gotten. And then like if I get everything but Antarctica, then I'm gonna have to, you know, pull out the Twitter army. We're gonna have to really push to get the scientists at the Antarctic station to join in. Oh, Bernadette's in the Boston area. Nice. Very nice. This is killing me with how slow this is going to push. I thought we were going to be able to do @mentions and files in the same day, but with the way this is pushing here, we're going to be looking at just doing @mentions today. Got somebody from the UK, Boston area, Ohio. Ohio is next door, so thank you, Ohio. You're keeping Indiana separated from Pennsylvania, which is good. Nice little buffer zone there. And we're still pushing. There we go. Okay. Chatter recipes variable does not exist. Mention segments. Okay. So we got an error in our dependent class. Okay, that's fine. The dependent one is. So we need to fix this. Mention segments dot add. So let's look at our up our documentation for it's the connect API dot message input segment. I think it's message body input. Okay, so message body input. There we go. Message body input. Is it supposed to be message segments or mention segments? That's great. It is message segments. All right, well, fine. I can copy pasta like the rest of them. There we go. Save that. And here we go. Michael says, what up, Code Fryer? What up, Michael? I'm doing pretty good. We're working with Chatter today. We are having a lot of fun with waiting for it to push code. For some reason, that's taking an awful long time today. Where are you at, Michael? Let's see. I think we've got a valid unit test. If we can ever get this to push, we'll be able to, you know, hit this run test button, which makes me happy. But I am struggling to see why it's, well, I did misname that, so that's probably my fault. But here we go. Let's see what this does. 1, 2, 1, 2, check. Using Comic Sans today, and I have to admit, as much as I hate Comic Sans as a font, and I'm a bit of a font nerd, I have very strong opinions about fonts. I don't know why, I'm broken. But this isn't as bad as I thought it would be. It actually is fairly easy to read. I'm normally a huge fan of Cascadia Cove, but this will do, you know, for lulz. Florida. I don't think you're chilling in Florida, Michael. Last time I was in Florida in August, it was anything but chilling. So, you know, aren't you in hurricane season, Augustish? Yeah, should be. Anyway, I remember I used to live in Florida in Tampa, and we always had quite the sweltering bits. Sweltering days. Okay. It still doesn't like message segments. Variable does not exist, message segments. So let's just debug this. We've got a message body input, which we're using here. And we've got message segments. And because that's right here, right? Message body input, a rich message to feed items and comments. And it has a list of message segment inputs. And if we look at our message segment input, one of those is message segment input. So we should have the ability to say, create a mention segment input. Yes, mention segment input. Yes. And then we're going to set the ID. Let's see. Mention segment input ID. Okay. We're setting the ID. That's fine. And then segments add message body input dot message segments add dot. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cheat. This is a fun little trick. If you know you've got an error on one line and it's just kind of being a pain in the butt, what you can do is you can comment out that one line, push everything, and then it should be much simpler, much faster to push changes to this one file because everything else will have been uploaded. That's the theory we're going for. And while we do that, let's check in with the Twitters because I think I've gotten some messages here. And let's see. No. Okay. Nope, I was wrong. No new messages. Saving. All right. I'm going to clear this out so we can see the information when it comes in. Message body input. Nuke message body input. Yes. Okay. And so the message body input has message segments. Message segments. And this. Oh, okay. Okay, so now we've added all this stuff. That has done its thing. Let's do this. Let's do message body input dot message segments dot add. All right, and this is weird because you see how it's got a different color there? I wonder if there's like some Unicode character in there that is being goofy. So I'm going to save just this file now. Hopefully this will work better, faster, stronger. And away we go. Come on. Come on. Okay. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we had a hidden character that was causing that problem. And it occurs to me that while we are making this message body input, we're not actually posting it, right? So let's look at what we need to do to post that message. And then we're going to just call our post feed element down here. So after we've got the mentions, we're going to say connect API dot feed element, and that's an object, so we'll capitalize it. Feed element meant. Okay, we'll call this one to post is equal to connect API dot chatter feeds dot post feed element. Yep. Okay, and then we'll do network.get network ID, and then we'll say feed item input. Is that what I called it? Feed item input. All right, so this is turning out to be being fairly helpful with this. Paste that there. And then we should probably associate it with the record ID. So let's say this is our feed item input. We should probably set our feed item input. So we'll do feed item input dot subject is equal to, and we called that user the record ID, or that. Okay, save that again. So in broad strokes, what we've done here is we've created a feed item input object and then added a message body input to it and a text segment input. And then we've also added a number of mention segment inputs. So you've got all these different segments that we've added, and we go through and add all these together, and then at the bottom of it, we then post this. Okay, and that did not save. Let's see, variable does not exist. It's not, oh, it's subject ID. Subject ID. Okay. Save that. This is going up much faster. Now, you know, those of you in the chat, thanks for joining me today. You have anything in particular you'd like to see us focus on? Let me know in the chat. Next couple of weeks, we're doing some work on Sales Cloud. So if you are, you know, diving into setting up or working in a sales org, some things you might want to do there. Specifically dealing with price books. Price books, yeah. Much fun. So we'll do price books in Apex. Now we've saved this. This has been saved as well. Let's go run our test. Run test. And it's going to do its thing. Boom, boom. Processing test run. I mean, this should pass. Now that I say that, I've jinxed us. Sorry. Saving. Processing. Okay, we failed to run. System null pointer exception. That's fun. Line 52. Message segments.add. Message body input dot message segments. So this is a list, and add is a method on list. So yeah, I'm a little confused as to why that's a null pointer error. So this is a message body input, and that's a message body input. And when we create that, we don't need anything. Price books and multi-currency. All right, Ashish, we can work on that. That's a price books and multi-currency. All right, we'll work on that. Multi-currency will have to be its own thing, and it'll have to live in a special branch because once you enable multi-currency, you can't undo it. So we'll work on that separately here, but we'll get that into codeLive. This is saying that it's a null pointer error. And I wonder what on line 54 is the null pointer posting to. Oh, no, it's on line 52. So is it message body input that is null? It shouldn't be. New connect message body input. Is it message segments? Or is it add? So what I'm going to do, we'll just do some system debug message body input. Do I though? Do I need to do message segment inputs? I thought that was created for me, but it appears, you know, that's the most likely explanation, so let's just go ahead and do that, okay? So let's do up here, we'll say our message body input dot message segments is equal to new list, and it'll be connect API dot message segment input. There we go. Save that. Like I said when I started off with this, I've done a lot of things on the Salesforce platform for over 10 years. One thing I never really got into, just in the circumstances I had, I never needed to, is working with Chatter from Apex. Not, you know, as a user, I've used Chatter a bunch, but working with Chatter in Apex has not been something that I've done in the past. So things like that little, okay, so that looked like it passed. Okay, so that gave us a passing bit of code. Now, just for grins and giggles, I'm going to turn on code coverage overlay, and that's fine. We didn't run any of those tests, so I'm not expecting coverage there, but this gave us coverage. And we'll see that over here we also had this system debug thing going on. Now, I want to see what this is actually coming out as, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a breakpoint right there. I'm going to hit debug test. And what this is going to do is this is going to go run the unit test, grab the log files, and replay it in the replay debugger so that I can see what's going on. And it'll pause here at the at my breakpoint. So at this point, I've got an account feed object, and if I look at this, copy value. All right, I'm going to paste this over here, and you'll see test contents at last. Well, now, where did I get test contents at last? Test contents, and then this is at last. Who is this at last? Oh, you know what? I bet you. Let's do this. We're going to open up Test Factory again. Create test user with a profile name. We're going to grab the profile name, call create test user. And if we go look at the main crest, here's our test user. So we are at mentioning, we can see that that at mention is working. And so if we look at this, this is our test contents. Here's our at mention, which is what we're looking for. And I mean, we could test for that at last, and that would work. Let's just do that for grins and giggles. So I'm going to stop my debugging of the test. And I'm going to close that. And I'm going to say count feed size. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say system.assert. And I'm going to say account feed 0. Body contains at mention.name, and at mention is user. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, because this is what we're doing, we're setting the last name. So I'll say the at mention.last name. Body contains, and what I'm going to do is contains ignores case. Contain ignore case, I think is what it is. And we'll do it. I don't need. Come on. Okay, so this is going to give me that. I don't need that. And so I don't need that either. I just needed that semicolon there. All right, I think that's going to give us a much more in-depth assertion. Now, I'm also going to say expected message body to contain the at mention of the test user's last name. Okay, we'll save it. We'll run this. And what we're saying here is at mention is going to give us a username with at last, or last is the last name. And so we expect that to give us an at mention of at last. And yeah, I think that'll do us good. Let's just go ahead and run this. I want output. There we go. We got 6 minutes left. Does anybody want to throw out any questions, comments, slide remarks here as to what we've done? Anybody? Suraj and let's see, Bernadette and everyone who joined in on the chat. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting your name. Thank you all for your help in pointing out when I've got a typo or an issue with my code. I appreciate that. This will live live on YouTube here starting in probably about 5 minutes, and then anyone can to watch it as they wish. I'll post a little bit of a update about it later, but then we're going to continue on in the future with a episode about posting files to Chatter. Now, one thing we have to do here is we do have to put in some better comments. So we're going to say method creates a Chatter post attached to the feed of the record ID of the record specified by the record ID containing the specified post contents. It's almost like it's listening to me out loud. Specified post contents while at mentioning the list of users passed in. Okay, this is going to be the ID of the record to post this Chatter message to. Okay, this is going to be the contents of the post. I'll capitalize this. And this is a list of users to @mention in the post. All right, that's fairly straightforward. There's a lot of code there to do that, though. Yeah. Variable toPost is defined but never used. Where is toPost? Oh, yeah, you're right. I am defining that variable and not using it. I suppose I could just call the Chatter. I could just call the API, because this can effectively be a fire and forget method. Okay, we'll just do it that way. Yeah. Okay, so we've created that. We've got our tests working. We've got a bunch of uncovered lines, but once this saves, let's just go ahead and run all the unit tests, and we will see how they work. Okay, that's saved. Here we go, running all of our unit tests. And here we go, we've got unit test coverage showing. Okay. Got 2 minutes left. Will we be able to get all the unit tests running in 2 minutes? Dun, dun, dun. The suspense is killing me. Not really. Okay. Somebody is typing in here. They think Comic Sans always screams fun. All right. Rob, are you in the chat today? Do we get to see here? Okay, these passed. So we've got Chatter recipes. Our code coverage here shows at 100% now. Okay, well, it says it's at 100%. Did that work? It did. Why did our code coverage not update? Oh, there we go. Whew, I was starting to worry there. All right, so we got 100% code coverage. We can post Chatter messages, we can post comments to Chatter messages, and we can post @mentions to a feed. With that said, even though we've got 45 seconds left, I'm going to say again, thank you for tuning in and joining me. Look forward to seeing you all next Thursday. We'll be working on some Sales Cloud work with price books, and I will see you then. Toodaloo.